The future for Africa most likely lies in the ability of its small and medium enterprises to be globally competitive. In a recent speech, Andreas Wenzel, Secretary General of the South Africa Initiative of German Business in Stuttgart, Germany, draws lessons for SMEs and economic growth in Africa from the German experience. He suggests many steps that can be taken by African policymakers and SMEs in Africa to be globally competitive.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, small medium enterprises for growth in Africa. That's what I want to talk about, and I want to refer to small and medium enterprises as SMEs. And I want to give it, surprisingly enough, a German perspective, and to see what we can learn from the German perspective for Africa, and eventually actually vice versa. Small and medium-sized enterprises in sub-Saharan Africa are frequently discussed in terms of growing unemployment, rising population. It is seen as a solution for what? What is the main points in the discussion about small and medium enterprises on the African continent? The main point is they are seen as vehicles for employment and job creation. This is the one thing. The other point is they are seen as facing daunting challenges within their host countries, which are insufficiently addressed by policymakers. Support mechanisms are missing, and there is a lack of support at all. But what else are they? Is it just this, or do we have to have a further look at small and medium enterprises in sub-Saharan Africa? We all agree, and we have heard today, that small and medium enterprises start with an idea, with a vision, an idea to intend to fulfill a need in a community. But fundamentally, we have to take another look as well on SMEs in Africa, because they play a critical role in nation building, in nation advancement, and in sparking innovation. No matter what happens, development in Africa will not take place without SMEs. Growth cannot happen without them. Socio-economic paradigm shifts don't happen without them. And poverty cannot be reduced without them. SMEs are what bring a middle class to life. This is their enterprising role in society. SMEs are fundamentally the drivers of change in a society and in politics as well, and not only in business. Small and medium enterprises can be the foundation of a middle class in Madagascar as well as in Southern Africa, and this comes with certain responsibilities as well. When applied effectively, the private business sector based on small and medium enterprises can be used to influence social change and political change, for example, to demand transparency, improved regulatory frameworks, and other things. But is highlighting the importance of small and medium enterprises just some kind of third world thing for Africa? Is it just some second or third class development path? No, it is not. And we have to look at Germany to understand why. Germany is a highly industrialized and competitive country, indeed one of the most successful economies in the world. We have a population of more or less 80 million, which gives us middle size. And we build our economy on export-oriented industries. And we are only second to China in terms of world exports. But what is it that makes us this successful? Is it large companies like Siemens and Daimler? No, it isn't. Even if everywhere in the world, everybody knows, for instance, the cars of Mercedes-Benz, which are eventually nice cars. But Germany, may believe it or not, builds its economic strength on small and medium-sized enterprises. They constitute the backbone of the German economy. And I will give you some few figures which you won't believe, but you have to believe me because I did some research in them, which will surprise you. More than 99% of all businesses in Germany are small and medium-sized enterprises. More than 99%. So your Siemenses, your Daimlers of the world is just that 1%. Of those, 95% are family businesses. And German SMEs contribute 52% to the German gross domestic product. 52% of Germany's gross domestic product is being produced by small and medium family enterprises. They employ 60% of all workforce in Germany, and they employ 83% of all trainees in Germany, securing Germany's future talent and keeping youth unemployment at a historic low. We currently have 7% youth unemployment. If you look, for instance, border to France, they have 23-24% of youth unemployment. German small and medium-sized enterprises, they do invest in research and development activities. In the year 2010 alone, these companies invested 9 billion euros in research and development in the German economy. Their export share in terms of business activity is 30%. So 30% of all products, of all know-how of German small and medium-sized enterprises is being exported to the world. German small and medium enterprises are specifically competitive on international markets. There are 1,300 German small and medium-sized enterprises who are considered to be world market leaders in specific niches of technology, be it machinery, plant technology, industrial products, electronics, optical industries, be it whatever. If you compare, for instance, with Japan or the US, they have 300 and 200 respectively, in contrast to 1,300 in Germany. What reasons are there? Why are they so successful? What can we learn from that experience and maybe apply for the future? First of all, these companies have extremely ambitious targets. The targets of these companies are aimed at growth and at market leadership. Secondly, focus and depth is important. These companies define their markets narrowly and work deep into the value chain. This comes to a third point, globalization, going international. If your focus makes your market small, you have to go international to grow the market, even if you are in a specific technological niche. Innovation. You have to invest in research and development, and you have to invest in the capacity to innovate. The power of innovation of small and medium-sized enterprises in Germany, if you compare it to large corporations, they will beat them by the factor of 5. So SMEs in Germany are 5 times as innovative as large corporations. Another lesson, you have to be close to your customer. That's the biggest strength of these companies, even ahead of technology, fulfilling the wishes of your customer and even knowing what your customer wants before he himself knows that. Another point is loyalty and highly qualified employees. That's why these companies invest so much in trainees. You have to have highly qualified staff, and you have to have staff that is not highly qualified only, but staff that is loyal to your institution, loyal to your aims. Last but not least, strong leadership. Teamwork is important, yes, but finally, you have to have a strong leadership that is flexible in the details, but when following the vision, is strong and consistent. So what can we learn from these experiences when we now apply to Sub-Saharan Africa and the development path Sub-Saharan Africa is on? Yes, small and medium-sized enterprises are able to build a complex and successful economy. It is not only about your small businesses, but it is about a complex and successful internationally competitive economy built on the backbone of small and medium-sized enterprises. They are able, small and medium-sized enterprises are able to shape the economy, to meet the challenges of highly competitive international markets, and even, let me put it like that, compete with the Chinese. So what is there to do? In order to achieve for the African side, obviously there is a lot of homework when it comes to regulatory frameworks and the responsibilities of government. Governments in Africa must learn that they need not only create frameworks for international investors, but that their local businesses are the respective institutions that will drive these countries forward. It's only local businesses that will bring an economy to the next level. International companies can only be an add-on. They can transfer technology, they can develop skills, yes, but you have to build your economy on local small and medium-sized enterprises. But there is as well a lesson for German business, which I'm representing here on this stage. German companies can improve their success in sub-Saharan Africa by avoiding isolated engagement, but seeking actively and more than already happening partnerships with African companies and building themselves African companies to work together with for win-win situations for both the German businesses and African businesses.
The German SME experience can be truly helpful for Africa, as Andreas Wenzel has just discussed. To complement his discussion, we have some comments from notable SME experts, including Austin Okere, founder and CEO of Computer Warehouse Group, Carol Pinot of Africa Open for Business, and Jean Abinador, Executive Director of the Moroccan American Trade Investment Center, among others. We start with Austin Okere.
There are 17.7 million SME companies. Now, if these companies can be supported and add capacity added to these companies such that each of them can employ one more person, you automatically create 17.7 million jobs, much higher than the government can employ or the big oil companies, much higher than anybody can add.
What I find is actually that African business is incredibly savvy, and even small businesses. You know, when you're sort of above that hand-to-mouth existence, even an SME, they have a really keen understanding of what makes business work and what they need and where they can get it.
If we have 16 million unemployed people, creating 17.7 million jobs will wipe that out.
I mean, you hear of the multi-billionaires, but for every multi-billionaire, there are thousands of millionaires or people that have made good businesses out there. So let's focus on that broader group of people. Let's also then focus at all of the SMEs that are also rising, or the rising tide. Everybody's coming up because the bigger companies need the smaller ones that might be supplying services, goods to them.
You know, you want to see companies that are nimble, companies that can move as markets present themselves, and I think small and medium-sized companies are very good at that.
So as economies become more complex, the more room it allows to slice and dice people in the value chain. Everybody will pick up certain parts of the value chain. The more defined your position in the value chain, the more efficient you are.
It is probably the best way to have a social impact investment by having something for that particular sector, the SME sector.
Well, you know, this whole idea of impact investing is relatively new. You know, it first started out as corporate social responsibility, which literally is philanthropy. Let's go buy soccer balls, let's build a school. That's really not what Africa wants. What Africa wants is impact investing that creates sustainable development that will encourage the growth of their human resources.
So we have an initiative called CWG 2.0, of course CWG being Computer Warehouse Group, which is our company. And what we're doing is to first and foremost look at how we can invest impactfully in building capacity into these SMEs.